this is Psalm 86. It's the psalmist saying, it says a prayer of David. So maybe this is the exception to the rule, that maybe this was composed by David. Anyway, you read it for yourself and you decide. Psalm 86, called a prayer of David. He bows down, talks upon God to bow down thine ear, O Lord. Hear me, for I am poor and needy. That is one of the expressions of David, poor and needy. Going to God, be merciful unto me, O Lord. I cry to thee daily. In the day of trouble I call unto thee. And that emphasis is throughout the psalm. It's not a long psalm, 17 verses. Finishes with show me a token for good. And you can pull out of this psalm many amazing thoughts. Which is the one I want you to take? Teach me thy way, O Lord. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. I am poor and needy, but I can still pray, oh, teach me thy way, O Lord. I have had over my life, as you would imagine, and like you, very likely, the older we are, we seem to have a lot of people come to us, more people come to us. Maybe they think there's experience there. And one of the major things that people have come to me is to say, I need help in my way. I don't know what to do. And here's God saying, teach me, David saying, teach me thy way, O Lord. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. This is surely the wisest way to approach it. But first of all, ask yourself, what is God's way? God is not over interested whether you should make an extra £500 a month or £5,000 a month or £50,000 a month. One way or the other. I would go as far as to say that God leaves it to the deep emotions of your heart who you should marry. I know of some people who prayed over it and the Lord led them in a certain way, and they did marry the certain people, and they were very happy ever after. And I know some of them that ended in divorce. There's a quality in the nature of God that is his way. For instance, does he want you to be angry, spiteful, bullying, lose your temper, greedy, selfish? And when you have a list of these negatives, and they can be a mile long, but you make a list of the negatives that are peculiar to you, and you say, that's not God's way. Then you put into its place the positives. And the greatest positive is love. And when you begin to understand the grace of God and the peace of God and the righteousness of God and the faithfulness of God and the patience of God and the security of God, you can say, teach me thy way. The biggest jump that I think I had in my spiritual life was discovering that the fruits of the Spirit was the way of God. Maybe I should say that again. One of the quantum leaps in my Christian life was discovering something I already knew, but I didn't realize that the fruits of the Spirit was part of the way of God, because they're part of the nature of God. The nature of God is the way of God. Now, I'm not saying the psalmist didn't need some help in a particular direction because of circumstances in his life. I'm not running away from that. I'm saying I myself am not an expert in those things. But what I do know, the more I have the qualities of the nature of God coming into my life, I can remember as if it was yesterday, but it must have been 30 years ago, maybe 40, of discovering for myself that God had flooded my heart with his love like a flood through the Holy Spirit, and he had given to me the Holy Spirit. That I got up from wherever I was and walked around the room wanting to take in this wonderful truth of the way of God for me, which was the love of God into my soul. Oh, how I longed for love. As a boy, I longed for love. When I saw the children playing happily with their parents in a working class farm or a working class park or a working class field, how I envied and loved the occasion at the same time. Happy children with happy parents, with nothing in the world but each other. But they were happy. My first wife said, not long before she died, I would do it all over again with you, even if we lived in a tent. Even if we lived in a tent. So teach me thy way, O Lord. I will walk in thy truth. Unite my heart to fear thy name. The Lord bless you. Psalm for today, 86.